Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending peace and the prayers upon His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sheikh is welcoming everyone to this new episode of this Fatawa night from Mishka Center in Houston, Texas. Today is the first day of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for that the fasting and the prayers and dua, and make this month of Ramadan a month of blessings. The first question is about like like touching your wife was like a desire. And what if he touches her and maybe kiss her? So the Sheikh says the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to kiss his wife when he's fasting, but he was like controlling his desire. So whoever can control that desire and is not afraid of go to consequences. So there is nothing wrong to do that, to kiss your wife, to hug your wife. In the Quran, some ayat came with like the knowledge of Allah when the nafs doesn't know. Some of this ayat were actually like was got changed in like other verses in the Quran. Sheikh says, well, I feel like you have this waswas or that whispers of shaitan, so I make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you shifa. And I remind you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not gonna put the ummah accountable for whatever they, like it, like what its soul would talk, or like the self talk or something, until they have this to be converted into action. So remember the story that the Prophet ﷺ said the killer and the killed ones are in the hellfire. So they said, "Oh Prophet of Allah, we know the killer because he killed, but what about the killed one?" He said he was also seeking or trying to kill the other. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you shifa of this waswas. So what is the difference between the hasad and raghba, or wish of what others would have? So envy, as Sheikh says, well, you wish to have, like the other things that people would have, and this ni'mah that people have would be removed from them. But the ghibta, or the word, the Sheikh is saying like you would wish to have what others would have from as a ni'mah without losing that, so they would not lose that ni'mah, subhanallah. So just a good wish to have similar to what others have. So the Prophet ﷺ said, so like no hasad or no ghibta. So if you wish to would have like a certain ni'mah or a blessing by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without like thinking of the people that would have that ni'mah, to lose it, that's good, that's acceptable. It's called the ghibta. And also ghibta in ta'at, in the act of worship, like if you see somebody praying 10 rak'ahs, you pray 10 rak'ahs or 20 rak'ahs. Somebody is given sadaqah, and you pay more sadaqah again for the sake of Allah. That's actually competition in for the sake of Allah. So there is like competition on khair is acceptable, and there is a competition in uh, like the dunya. That's actually disliked, and the first one was actually liked by Allah. Like remember the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, you know, don't fight on this dunya as the people before you who did. You know, like they were competing for money. They, you know, competing for like authority. They were competing for the dunya, and that's again a disliked competition. And then like the nations before us did this one, and this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually has made them like losers. So the lesson from that is to avoid the fitna of the dunya. Remember Qarun when he came out with this wonderful, you know, like clothes and dunya and money. So the people said, oh, look at this Qarun, he's so rich, he has such and such and such. But remember the good one is the one who knows or good or do good deeds and the good act of worship. So when he got actually destroyed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his money, and so these people actually start to looking around again and say, well, without the rahmah of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have destroyed us as he did with Qarun. So again, you think of the dunya as a fitna, you think of the dunya as something you learn from and just to follow the good things. Uh, Somebody, a good friend here in this mosque, said he's going to Umrah, and then the Isha prayer is just was called on, and then Taraweeh is following that. What should he do? So a sheikh says, well, tawaf, you must, one of the conditions or the must doing in the tawaf, you have to do the muwala. Muwala means like you do not cut it. You have to do it, and you don't cut it until there is like a prayer, a fard prayer. So this is a fard prayer, or maybe like janaza. Again, the janaza prayer is very short, so the time between leaving the tawaf and doing this janaza is gonna be very short time. Do not cut the tawaf for taraweeh. So you can cut your tawaf for Isha, and then you go back to the tawaf again. Some scholars said it's not wrong to cut your tawaf for taraweeh or like nafila in general. But again, the majority of scholars said it's not a good idea to cut your tawaf for anything but the farida or the fard. البتاع مش in order. أي حاجة. So Sheikh says there is a question here in English. I know it is permissible to skip fast in a travel, but I want to continue fasting. My question is how to determine the time of suhoor and iftar while on the air. Like we are leaving at 6 p.m. from Houston, and the flight is 16 hours to Qatar. Please help with the. Sheikh says in this case you have the hukm of the location. It's not like the land where you take off or the land when you or the country where you land. So when you are in the air, you just follow the sun. So if you are clear about the Fajr time, the correct Fajr time, you can stop eating. And in this case, you could actually talk to the crew or the people in the flight to tell you like about this time, and then you could actually be careful. Be, like leave few minutes after that time to make sure that you are fine. There is a hadith about al-Bukhari narrated, like Abdullah ibn Awfa said, we were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Safar, in travel. He was fasting, and then when the sun gone, he said to the people, "O Fulan," or "O," like to like prepare like iftar for us. So what is the hukm of smelling like the perfumes or put misk? Sheikh says, well, there is nothing wrong with that. Next question: what somebody would do when he's making wudu in Ramadan? Or should I like rinse my mouth, and then there is might be some water there. So Sheikh says, would just like do it the regular way you do it. You're not gonna drink, right? Another question is about like this waswas or the whispers of shaitan. Somebody's taken like medications for that waswas, and because of that, when it comes to him at the prayer, he would say something. Would his prayer be like not acceptable or batila because of maybe saying something not from salah during the salah? Well, Sheikh says, well, again, this is again waswas or the whispers of shaitan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you recovery from that. Why do most Arab are and Muslims countries are dictators or dictatorships, and Islamically, is it must for a Muslim to obey the dictator or the corrupt leader? The question has like it's the sender is like a troublemaker. He want to put us in troubles here. The Sheikh is just like commenting on the question. So Sheikh says, first of all, there is no relationship between Islam and what is going on in Muslim countries or Arab countries. Like if there is dictatorship there, is not from Islam. If there is like corruption, is not from Islam. If there is like oppressions, is not from Islam, and so on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent his prophets, right? And then he revealed these holy books. So for what? To people to rule the justice, to spread the justice, right? And the Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also commanded us or ordered us to use shura, which is like democracy or the democratic form, you know, of Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praised the people who actually use this shura. There is a complete chapter or surah in the Quran. It's titled Ashura. But then dhulm or injustice is, common, however, in these countries, but it's not like a reason that you would actually start fighting these people. So do not actually support them in that dhulm or that injustice, but give them the advice, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring them back to his right track. And nobody can actually go ahead and fight them until there is like they are kafir. There is hadith narrated by Ka'b ibn Ajra in At-Tirmidhi. The Prophet ﷺ said, after me there were some, like leaders. Whoever enter on them and then believed in them, believed in their lies, and support them on their injustice, he's not from me, and I'm not from him, and he's not gonna actually pass on the Jannah or come to the Jannah. And whoever enter on them, and then he should not support them on their oppression or their dhulm or injustice, and he does not believe in what they say. Again, he's not from me, I'm not from him. Whoever enter on them and do not support them and do not believe in them and do not believe in what their lies, he's gonna be from me and I'm gonna be from him, and he's gonna be inshallah coming to the Hawd or the Jannah. That's just like in a brief, answer of your question. Next question: my daughter-in-law and her family are doing witchcraft. Like witchcraft is like a form of sihr, or almost every day to me, my son, and to all my family members. What is the verdict in sense of her being Muslim, or is she out of Islam? What was going to be punishment? What was going to be punished on this sin, or for this sin, if he were living at Muslim's country ruled by Islamic Sharia? If she's kafir, can my son divorce her on that basis of her being not a Muslim? They don't have children yet, so what should we do? Again, the daughter of the daughter-in-law, like the wife of his son, is doing that sihr, to him and his son and the whole family. The scholars actually have different opinions about who learn like sihr. Some of them said it's a kufr. And this is the majority of scholars who said that, among them Malik, Abu Hanifa, and Ahmad, and others. Ash-Shafi'i said that if somebody claimed that he knows sihr, ask him, describe that sihr to us. If he did that description, or if he does that description with whatever that is kufr, so he's gonna be like kafir. But if he cannot describe it, or he cannot say whatever can actually put him in that category as kafir, so do not actually give him that title, or that not put him in that. So in Saudi, the committee, or the committee of Ifta said, if the person does that sihr, so you should actually look at that. If if it causes like kind of like deadly outcomes, he should be killed for that. Like you have to make sure that is that sihr lead to kufr or not. If it's kufr, actually you can kill him because it's a kafir. Otherwise, do not. There is hadith about the Prophet ﷺ said the the borders or the the hudud of sihr is to kill him, especially when he causes like this kind of problems or bad things to people. So if she insists to keep doing that, and then you are sure that she does that, so it's better for your son to leave her, to divorce her, especially there is no kids between them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring him the good one, inshallah. Somebody is diagnosed with asthma using that, like inhalers in regular basis. Is that to break fasting? Sheikh says no. Just like the drops, the eye drops or the ear drops or anything for the ears or this inhalers. Again, avoid just to get anything in your like belly. Is it mandatory for a mother who is breastfeeding or to fast? Sheikh says first of all that breastfeeding is not like an issue to not fast. But if she is in hardship, if she experiences any hardship or she's not feeling healthy with that, and she's afraid that she might be actually unhealthy or even that baby might be unhealthy. So if there is any harm that could touch her because of her fasting or her baby, in this case only, she can actually eat. As Sheikh says, we could also look at the pregnant lady and the people who actually feed breast people. So the four madhabs agree on that. If she's afraid that she's gonna be experience any harm, or the baby is gonna be experience any harm because of that fast, so or for example, the baby cannot accept anybody else to feed him or to feed her. So in this case, there is no other way. We could actually give her this fatwa to not fast. Anybody going through like dialysis during the state of fasting, should he break the fast or should he fast? Or? Sheikh says there are two types of dialysis. This is like the protein washing or the dialysis or the blood dialysis. So the first one actually like the blood dialysis is not gonna actually ruin the fasting. But the protein thing, it's actually it has like different opinions for different scholars. So, some of the scholars said it's not gonna actually ruin your fasting, but the other ones said again you have to look at the real consequences of that, and you look at the patient, and you get like a good fatwa or a good opinion from a good Muslim doctor or a good doctor to use. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to fulfill his like farida of siyam. Sheikh in the end making dua for the Muslim ummah, especially those who are disrespected by others. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fix our issues here, and forgive us, forgive our parents and their parents, and those who have rights over us. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.